Hi, welcome to Cinema Journal, and this is my first impression of the latest Disney reimagining of one of their greatest animated films, Beauty and the Beast. Honestly, I really don't think that I need to do a plot synopsis of this. I mean, I'm pretty sure that you already know that this is about a French girl named Belle, who is played by Emma Watson in this version, who becomes a prisoner of a hidden enchanted castle that is owned by a beast, played by Dan Stevens, in order to save her father Maurice, played by Kevin Kline. And if you already know that, then you should already know of the huge cast of characters like Lumiere, played by Ewan McGregor, Cogsworth, played by Ian McKellen, and Mrs. Potts, played by Emma Thompson, as well as our villain Gaston, played by Luke Evans, who wants to make Belle his wife. As you should already know. And as you should already know as well, that in time the two romantic leads will develop some sort of connection with one another. I think I'll stop right here. Anyway, this film continues with the latest trend from Disney, where they seem to have run out of ideas, at least with their live action films, and decided to find their inspiration in their past, reimagining their animated classics and turning them into live action remakes. Starting with Alice in Wonderland, they have managed to be modestly successful financially and even critically. The only one that I saw was last year's The Jungle Book, and not only do I think it's an excellent film, but I'm glad that it took a different path from its animated counterpart, which is what I want from all of these, well, let's just admit it, rather unnecessary remakes. But if they are going to do it, at least do something different with it. Not that different. Well, my worst fears seem to have come true when I first saw the trailer for the upcoming Beauty and the Beast retelling. Watching that trailer, I was quite struck by how many of its scenes just look so similar to the animated film. And I don't mean that in a good way. And I don't mean in a, oh how dare they remake a classic from the Disney Renaissance era that is the first animated feature to be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Picture. They should be ashamed of themselves. I'm not entirely against it. In fact, the animated film itself is technically a remake that is based on an actual fairy tale. So if Disney wants to have another go at it, fine. I just don't want to see the same exact movie, because then what would be the point of it? That just screams laziness to me. But who knows, I could be wrong, which is most of the time when it comes to these trailers. Okay, sure, they may copy some things, but if they can utilize it to tell a different story, then I wouldn't have a problem with it, and I have been wrong about films enough times to know not to judge prematurely. And like me predicting Trump's victory, I was disappointed that I was right about this film. The best way that I can describe this is that this is an extended cut of the animated film. Whether I have a damn good memory or I watch that movie so many times that it is etched into my brain for the rest of my life, I caught so many similarities between the two with the story structure, scenes, the music, and even lines, and is peppered with alternate takes of the familiar story or with whole new sequences that supposedly help deepen the characterization of our two leads. I was so distracted by it that it was difficult for me to actually sit back and enjoy it. Well, okay, fine, so it wants to be like the animated film, so what? The more important question is it any good? At first I was like, I guess it was okay. But there was still that lingering doubt, like I was trying to lie to myself. So I thought about it for the next day or so, trying to keep it separate from the animated film so I could actually think about it critically. And the more I thought about it, the more I found myself disliking it. And the more that I dislike it, the more I start to despise it, to the point of me being angry at it. Not only do I find this to be the worst example of a cash grab that is reliant on nostalgia just to make its money, but this is an uninspiring piece of crap. It's so bad that this actually helped revitalize my appreciation of the animated film just when I was about to tip over into thinking that maybe it wasn't as great as everybody says it is. I know I shouldn't be comparing the two as it wouldn't be fair, but since this wants to be that wonderful and gorgeous film so bad, then let's count the ways that it misses mark. Emma Watson as Belle is just, I wouldn't say terrible, but her performance feels so phoned in. There is no enthusiasm about her as she just completely fails to have any sense of wonder that is so apparent with her character in the last film. I happened to catch her expression during the Be Our Guest sequence, and she looks like she was just staring off into space while this obviously overblown CGI effect was going off right in front of her. As for everyone else, I think they're just okay. Actually, funny enough, Kevin Kline as Belle's father probably gave the best performance out of everybody. As for the changes to the story, I really don't see the point of them. It's put in there to give some sort of backstory for both Belle and the Beast as a way for a connection to be formed between the two, which kinda destroys the whole premise of the fairy tale. It feels like it was forcing Belle to feel sorry for the Beast instead of having her see the kindness that was already inherent within him on her own terms. And then there's this plot point where it completely circumvents the Beast's sense of isolation, where he has this magical boat that just comes out of nowhere that allows him to go wherever he wants in the world. And I don't even want to think about how they changed the ending in order to create some pointless tension. It was just one tiny difference from the animated film, but it was such a significant change that if it had went where I hoped that it was going to go, I would have forgiven this film. But fuck that shit, we're Disney and we need a happy ending and... Okay, with all the negatives I have with this film, is there anything positive I can say about it? Yes, there is. I actually really enjoyed the new designs of the castle inhabitants, especially that of Lumiere and Cogsworth and the wardrobe lady. As I expected, the production design looks fine, but I really don't remember much about it as it is kept away from any potential screen time, like the castle itself, which I think should be treated like another character. And that's all I can say about it in terms of positive things. It's way more than I can say about Suicide Squad. I'm just so unbelievably angry at this. Maybe madder than I should be. Maybe it has to do with the fact that a lot of people do actually enjoy this, with some even saying that it's even better than the animated film. I know, it's all opinions and they are entitled to them, but that doesn't mean that I can't question them so long as I'm not trying to discredit them. I just want to understand how they come to that conclusion. This is just a theory of mine, but I do suspect that they were letting their nostalgia get the better of them. Or, of course, I could be just wrong about the film. God knows I am on the wrong side with others. But I have a pretty good feeling that I won't be changing my mind with this one anytime soon, if not ever. Right now, Disney will continue with the remaking, with Mulan and The Lion King coming out next. And you know what? I'm actually all for it. I mean, you know what they say, if you can't beat them, join them. But if this film is showing me the company's future practice, especially if this movie does very well at the box office, then I'd rather not get my hopes up.